hello, my courageous Capricorn, and welcome to your April love bonus reading. This is just a general reading, so please do take what resonates and toss the rest. Otherwise, check out the other signs in your chart if they resonate with you more. Also, your monthly reading is up and your weekly reading. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to do this in a past, present, future lineup. So do keep in mind that time is fluid in tarot. So past may be recent past or distant past. Present may be now and ongoing, and future may be soon to come or maybe in the distant future here. So hopefully, let's go ahead and see what we've got going on for you, shall we? All right. And we will, of course, get clarifiers and elaborate here a little bit for you, but let's get started. All right, so it looks like here we have the Eight of Cups in reverse and the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So I do feel like for some of you, you are kind of coming back into your home. So I feel like with that, by coming back into your home, I mean like you are kind of coming back into your tribe, your people, and maybe kind of in a refugee type of way. And the reason I feel that is with this Nine of Pentacles being in reverse, I do feel like some of you may be suffering some hardship. And it could be that, you know, you are suffering a split, a divorce, a separation, something of that nature. And because of that, it is causing you to kind of have a little bit of economic situation there financially, but also, you know, you're kind of needing your people around you too for support, moral support, emotional, mental support, all that kind of good stuff. So I feel like for many of you, you know, and this may not be recent, like I said, time is fluid. So this could be something that's very recent for some of you, just now kind of happening, or it could be something that has been long going. You know, maybe you split with somebody, you know, a year ago, you know, and you've been living at home with, you know, brother, sister, mom, dad's house, whatever for a year. And you're like, okay, when the heck is this going to give? That's what we're here to find out, right? But, you know, I do feel like that's kind of the situation, as it was based on kind of like a separation of kind of what I see is, or I feel for most of you was kind of a long-term relationship, something that kind of brought you back. And it could be something too where maybe you had moved to be with somebody. You actually physically had gone away from your family to be with somebody. And so it wasn't just kind of like moving back down the street home. You actually had to move home because you really needed support near you, and you were kind of off feeling like you were on an island too with this person, because you'd moved away to be with them and things just didn't work out if it was a short-term relationship. But for most of you, the vibe I'm getting is that this was a long-term thing where you kind of were commingled in like home, finances, different things like that. And so it did affect you in a way that affected your finances, it affected your home life, you know, so I'm talking about like major separation, divorce, long-term kind of separation or ending, those kinds of things. But let's see. Yeah, we've got the Three of Swords here. So I do feel like this is like a major thing that's caused heartbreak. You know, so I don't feel like for most of you that this is just like I don't feel like this is something where it was, you know, you dated a couple times and called it quits, you know. And that's not to say you haven't dated since this person. Since you've been back with your friends, family, whatever, you may have dated plenty of times since then, you know, while you've been separated, or, you know, you may be legally separated, you may be just, you know, broken up or taking a break or whatever. But I do feel like it's been kind of, you know, this is something that's really broken your heart. You did have to have the moral support of your people. So I do feel like that's why you came back to your people, you know, whether it be from afar or close by. And I feel like finances definitely had a lot to do with that, you know, so maybe your partner was primary, you know, breadwinner, or perhaps you were living with them and they were the primary person paying, you know, the rent, the bills, those kinds of things. And so you needed a place to go where you could kind of gather your funds, gather yourself, all of that. So you've kind of come back home, that kind of thing possibly. So, but I do feel like you're dealing with some heartbreak there. But let's see what's coming in the present. So for some of you, this may be going on now. For others of you, it may be starting soon. But I do see judgment. And judgment for me here is kind of like, you know, you're looking for guidance. So I feel like for many of you, you're kind of like, what do I do? You know, do I try to go back to this person and make this work? Do I try to smooth this over? Is there any chance at reconciliation? Is this a potential, you know, or do we call it quits? So for some of you who haven't kind of finalized those kinds of things, or you're still in contact, I feel like that's where you are. For some of you, this judgment card truly is judgment. You know, you are in a divorce process and you're just waiting judgment to finalize the end of, you know, that's the end of it. And so that's part of your heartbreak too. It's just, you know, that's going to be the end. You know, it's like up till now, it's kind of been just a, you know, a break, a split, but now it's real, you know, it's getting real with the judgment coming in. You know, you're waiting on that judgment to come in, you know, for the final divorce. And that's the real deal. Like, oh my gosh, then it's actually happening. So I think for some of you, that's the case. But here we have the Page of Cups in reverse. So I do feel like for some of you, the Page of Cups is typically somebody younger, immature, that kind of thing. But with it being in reverse, my thought with that is that there is possibly somebody coming into you that has interest in you, that is someone that you see as viable, a viable alternative as being a mature, responsible type of alternative for that person. So if it's somebody, for those of you who are finalizing, this is something that it's a done deal. You don't see any reconciliation. You know, I do feel like there's a potential person coming in that might actually be somebody you'd be interested in actually having a relationship with coming into you, okay? Now, on the flip side, for those of you that I see that are still contemplative of how to go about this, like you've been separated, you've been apart, but you don't really feel like, you know, I don't know if I want to get back together, I don't know what I want to do. This Page of Cups in reverse is kind of making me feel like, for some of you, that part of the reason you left this person was because they just didn't have the maturity you needed them to have, okay? So maybe they weren't ready to commit. Maybe they weren't ready to get married. Maybe they weren't ready to have kids. Maybe they weren't mature enough to handle finances. Maybe they just weren't, you know, they just were immature in the way they were acting. Maybe they were in, you know, there was infidelity in there. But you really, over the time that you've been apart, you've seen a lot of change. And now they've turned that around. They're no longer that immature Page of Cups. They are more of a mature type of person. And you're seeing that, okay? And as you're asking for judgment on high, you know, as you're asking for, you know, okay, somebody give me guidance, somebody tell me what to do, and you're kind of watching and waiting and seeing the situation, you know, you're actually seeing that this person really is trying to change. They really are trying to be a better version of themselves. They are growing up. The loss of you really did impact them enough to make them want to change. So if that is, take it as it resonates, of course, if that is the case for you, this may be somebody that you want to salvage that relationship, okay? This may be somebody, if they are really, truly putting in that effort and you are really seeking that judgment on high and you're feeling that in your soul and you're feeling that, you know, as you're really looking, seeking your soul and you're looking and you're watching and you're seeing and you're really seeing how they're being and they really are changing from, you know, that immature person that you couldn't be with anymore to somebody who is really willing to go the distance for you, then maybe it's worth, you know, maybe it's worth your time to try again, especially if they broke your heart so bad by splitting with them, then, you know, there's obviously love there, okay? But for the others of you that, you know, it's a heartbreak, you know it had to be done. The heartbreak is there because you know it's real now, but it had to be done. This is a judgment of divorce, end of. Bottom line, this could be somebody new coming in for you. So kind of take it as it resonates. It depends on where you fall. The Hierophant, and again, I feel like with you, this is again, you're kind of really seeking your soul, searching your soul, seeking for what is in, what your spirit's telling you, what your heart's telling you, what your, what you feel. So again, I think for many of you that this is not a final, this is not a, papers drawing on the divorce documents, but more of a separation situation, and a potential of reconnecting, reconciliation, that kind of thing. I do think that you are really seeing some changes in this person, some maturity, some growth, some effort, some of the things that you really wanted to see earlier. You're actually seeing them try. They're putting that in, they're putting that effort in, and it's with meaning, okay? It's not that they're doing it because you're standing over them. It's not that you're doing it because you're cracking the whip. It's that they're doing it because they felt the loss of you, and they don't like it. They don't want that. They really care about you. So you're feeling that, and you're soul searching here with this Hierophant. Okay. So for those of you that are in that situation, I do think you really do need to consider the possibility that this person may be really doing everything they can to get you back. And if it really is hurting your heart to be away from them, maybe this is a person for you. Okay. But for those of you who damn good and well that this person is just not it, divorce documents are drying, your heartbreak is only because you wasted so much time, you should have dumped them earlier, and it's real now, and you're just like crying because you lost so much money to the divorce attorneys, and that's what your heartbreak is like, crap, there went my pocketbook, to the divorce attorneys or something of that nature. If that's you, then you're over here seeking, guidance of whether or not this new person coming in might be somebody you want to even consider, because you may be like, I never want to go down that road again. I know how hard it was to get out of it. Okay. So it just depends on, take it as it resonates, depends on what it is for you personally. We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like this is money going out. Okay. And again, I feel like for those of you who, I feel like for those of you that, are in the divorce situation, you kind of expect that money's going out. It's news that money's going out. You just know that. I just feel like that. Okay. You expect that. It's not anything new for you. For those of you who are considering the idea of reconciliation, I feel like for more than most of you, what that is just the idea that, there's going to be some give and take work-wise, okay, to get back together, because you may have moved out, you may have left, you may have even moved, actual physical geographical locations to get back to your people, whatever. So there may need to be some financial or, job type of adjustments, or seeking, or different things that have to happen. And it may be a step back in order to get back together, but it may very well be worth it for you, for this person. So you kind of have to weigh that out. But I do feel like that may be possibly the case. Anytime you move, anytime, you have to change jobs, anytime you have to do that kind of stuff, there is always the potential of, a financial step back. Take one step forward and two steps back. But, if that step is because it's getting you back with the person that you love, and your heart is no longer going to be broken, and you see that they have grown and they have shown that they really truly love you, and, they have learned from this loss of you that they never want to lose you again, well, it's worth that, right? For sure. Okay, so let's see what we've got going forward. We have the Death card in reverse, which is telling me that, this is something you want to move forward with. So, I feel like rather than cutting it off, rather than killing it, even if it does cost money, you're ready to move forward with, whatever it is that you want. So again, I feel like for those of you that are trying to reconcile, I feel like you're going to proceed to move forward with that. For those of you that are going through divorce, I feel like you feel like it's already been done. You've done that. And now the Death is reversed because it's kind of past. That whole death of that relationship is kind of past, but now it's time to turn over a new leaf, right? Turn over a new existence and start new, like a fresh life. Okay. So I see that for you. Okay. But the card following it is the Star in reverse. So for all of you, I feel like this is something where you all feel a little bit gun shy, okay? And I don't know how you couldn't, okay? That's just status quo. You come out of divorce, you're gun shy on a relationship. You know, you've been through hell and high water, okay? Divorces are a total, excuse my French, but a total shit show, right? I mean, they're not easy. They're not a cakewalk, no matter how you slice it. Even if it's like you are so happy to be out of it, it's still not like sign here and smile walking away. It's still like paperwork, drudgery, courts, the whole nine, expense, right? Okay, if it's a breakup and you've had to move and move back and take financial hits, even if you realize that this person loved you all along out of it and was willing to go the lengths of the moon and back for you, okay, you still are kind of hesitant because wait a minute, what happens if they revert back? You know, I've left them once, you know, maybe they're just putting all this on to get me. And then once they get me back, what if they go back to being the way they were before, right? So I feel like this star is, you are a star. You have that star quality. You have that ability. You feel in your soul like you are a star because you're starting a whole new life, all this and that. But you are being very, very skeptical with it. You're being careful. That's probably a better word. I think you're being careful with how you proceed, okay? So I don't think that you're just not leaping into anything, okay? So your star is there, but you're not ready to like overshine, right? You're not sunshine yet. You're like, I'll just be a star who chills here and burns brightly, but doesn't like shine brightly on the earth like the sun, okay? You're chilling for a minute, okay? So let's see what we got here. All right, Queen of Swords, okay. So I feel like this is where you kind of start coming into your own for all of you. I do feel like this is where you start to kind of regather yourself. So for those of you who are reconciling, I feel like this is where you start to feel more confident that, you know, they did it for good reasons. They changed for good reasons. They changed because they wanted to, not because you made them. They changed because they truly missed you, not because they had to. They changed because they, you know, they knew they needed to grow up, and they did, okay? And that's why you're back with them, because if they hadn't been, you wouldn't be here at all. You would have just been like, nah, I'm back over here with this split and call it a day. And you'll be the second part where you're like, okay, this is a judgment I'm making to might as well be the same as a divorce. I'm cutting it off, right? So you'd be in that latter part, which is like the divorce part, basically similar to, okay? So, but I feel like for those of you that are in that second part, that latter part, the divorce part, or those who have chose not to reconcile, that you're starting over, you're like, this person didn't come around, this person sucks, this person's whatever, I hate it, I'm moving on, bye-bye, done with it. I feel like you're starting to get your strength back on your own. You're starting to feel like yourself again. You're starting to find your own way in the world, your own place, your own power, your own, you know, you're healing, okay? But, you know you've got that star power. You're hesitant to break it out yet, but you are starting to come into it. And then as your Queen of Swords, you're really starting to kind of dominate, okay? So here we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse, okay? And this is telling me that, you know, again, your finances took hits back here. We know that. I don't care whether you were leaving, coming back, breaking up, whatever, whether you divorced, split up for good, whatever, finances take hits. Anytime there's breakups, anytime there's separations, anytime there's movement, divorce, anything, finances take hits. It costs money to move, costs money to change jobs, costs money to relocate, costs money to pack stuff, costs money to buy a new table. Whatever it is that you do, it costs money to do, right? It takes a hit, right? So we kind of knew that, right? But regardless of which side of the coin you're on, the makeup side or the breakup side, this is saying that once you've harnessed that star power, once you've either gotten back together or moved on your own, and you've harnessed that Queen of Swords energy, you no longer have this baggage anymore. Your pentacles are falling back into place, okay? Because that baggage is gone. You're not dragging, you know, baggage behind you of, you know, literal baggage for some of you who've like gone home, come back, gone home, come back. And for those of you who are divorced, you're not dragging the baggage of a marriage and divorce costs and proceedings and all of that. So your pentacles are starting to come back into place, right? You're starting to get everything back into place. You're starting to feel that star power again. Maybe not ready to unleash it yet, but you're feeling it. You're starting to get that Queen of Swords energy back, gender neutral, of course. Starting to get your pentacles back into shape, you know, dumping the baggage as far as that part goes, you know, because you're kind of starting to get in the groove, right? So let's get a last card here. Queen of Cups in reverse, okay? And all this is saying to me is that for those of you who you get yourself back in, okay? I feel like no matter whether you are on your own or whether you are back with somebody, I still feel like this ties into this star in reverse card. You know you have the love, you know you have the power, you know you have the strength, you know you have all of that. But at this particular point in your life, and this is especially for those of you who separated or divorced for good, you are very much wanting to be independent at this point. You are not ready to jump into throwing your love out on anybody, pouring your cup out, opening yourself up to relationships. You know what you went through. You know how hard it was. You know it took its toll financially on you, mentally on you, broke your heart, what have you, all these different aspects, okay? So you're not ready to unleash your Queen of Cups energy yet. You have it. It's there, okay? But you're not ready to release that yet. So allowing people to come into you or allowing you to put those vibes out that you are open and ready to receive love and be in relationships, deep, meaningful, serious business type relationships. And when I say serious business, I don't mean business. I mean like serious, like love, move in together, serious relationships. You're just not there yet, okay? And that's totally okay. And for those of you who are back with this person, I still think you are skeptical. I still think you're hesitant. I still think that even though you feel like that they are showing you all good signs, you know, you've got this Queen of Swords power, you know, I still feel like you want to use that Queen of Swords power to kind of keep your independence, keep your strength in case you got to bail out again. You know, in case you got to roll, because I feel like you still are skeptical. You want to see it not for a month, not for a day, not for 2 months, but like you want to see it for like an extended period of time. You know, you want like at least one fiscal quarter. I want to see this person act like a decent human being that can, you know, be there when I need him to, that can, you know, maintain all of the things I need him to maintain, that can, you know, take care of business, that can pay bills, that can be emotionally there for me, that can be mature and, you know, that will commit and all these things, right? So, you know, you're just not quite ready. You've got your queenly energy but you're harnessing it in a swords manner, okay? Gender neutral again. You're harnessing it in a swords manner instead of your cups manner, which you have here. You're just not ready to put that right side up and open yourself completely up yet, okay? It's just a cautious thing, and I think that's the case. And I think you, regardless of which side of the coin you're on, you're just playing it safe, okay? Now, let's get some love cards here, shall we? Kind of elaborate a little bit more. All right, let's see what we got here. All righty. So, this could be the one. Okay. For you guys who are considering reconciling, I do think that this could be the one, okay? I do feel like you will see this Page of Cups in reverse be that same person who is going to make all the changes in the world that you wanted to see from jump. I think they really did need the kick in the pants or to lose you in order to see that they needed you. I do think that they're going to make the changes. I do think they're going to realize they needed to grow up. I think they're going to realize how important you really were to them and not want to lose you. So I do think for many of you, that could be the one, okay? And for others of you, I do feel like the ones who end up leaving, the ones who end up with a divorce, you know, I do feel like you thought this was the one. You know, I don't feel like you went into this relationship thinking that this was a fun relationship or a silly relationship or a short-term relationship or whatever, or that's what you've been in it for. I feel like this has been a very long-term relationship for those of you that are splitting or whatever, because again, I do see broken heart here. And, you know, your heart's, for most people on planet Earth anyway, I mean, there are a select few, but for most people, you don't have one date and then your heart's broken if they don't call you back, okay? That's, you know, for most people, your heart's broken when a relationship falls to shit, shambles, whatever. Excuse my language. I am just an Irish sailor on shore leave today, yo. Okay, so anyways, okay, but anyway, so for the next one, we've got stay optimistic about your love life, okay? And I think, again, for those of you who this, you know, is the Page of Cups in reverse, becoming more mature, changing for you, I think you are staying optimistic. I think you are really wanting to make this work. You are, that Hierophant is you kind of searching your soul. The Judgment is you kind of saying, please, you know, make this work. Can we make this work? How do we make this work? Can I see, is this person really doing this? And then the Hierophant, you know, searching your soul. Can we do this? You're trying the best to stay optimistic that this person is going to be this on a long-term scale, not short-term, okay? Not just for now to get you back, and it's a big ruse, you know? And for the rest of you that are, you know, this is an ending, you know, you're cutting it, or it's a actual divorce, you know, and that's the Judgment is like, psh, done. I'm passing judgment, we're done, or the court's passing judgment, we're done. I do feel like you're still optimistic. I feel like this Hierophant is you kind of seeking your, you know, seeking your, what do I want? What do I want to do when I go forward? Because I still want to go forward. I'm not done. I'm not going to give up on love, because I see this through the Death card in reverse. I see that you're done with this relationship, but you're not done living. You know that you're flipping this and starting anew. You're ready for new things. You just aren't, you're done with that. That's okay. So I think you're staying optimistic. Okay. And then the last one is pay attention to red flags. And I think with this, I think what this is what you're doing. I think this is just telling you that because of this, I see caution written all over this row for you. Your Star's in reverse. You have that star energy, but you're not really ready to unleash it and let it shine its brightest. You have that Queen of Cups energy, but you're not really ready to open it up yet. I just feel like right now, that's what you're doing. You are sitting on your Queen of Swords energy, okay? Which is like a dominant, you know, strong, independent energy where you're like, I'm going to depend on nobody but myself. And anybody who comes into me to date me, be around me, see me, whether it's you're of the persuasion where you're dating someone new completely, or you're of the persuasion where you're back with that person and giving them another chance. Either way, I feel like you are ready to jump at the first red flag. Okay, so you are keeping your eyes wide open and your ears to the ground. Okay, you are ready. So I really feel like this is what you're doing. You're keeping yourself very much protected, walls up, harnessing that Queen of Swords energy in case you need to slice and dice and get the hell out at any given moment. And I think that's okay. That's fine, because, you know, it's fine to protect yourself. And it's always fine to keep your eyes open for red flags. Just don't be so focused on the negative that you don't allow yourself to see all the positive, okay? Now, these are soulmate cards. Think about your soulmate. If you have one, don't have one, single, not single, think about your soulmate. Think about everything about them. These will kind of give you some insight about them, thoughts about them, tips, tricks, hints, whatever, and we'll kind of try to get some insight here. So let's pull 3 of these, see what we've got here, and we will close it out for you. All right, so this one says, in order for you to heal your relationship with another, you must first heal the relationship you have with yourself. Forgive yourself, accept yourself, and love yourself. And again, I think this is something that is good for everybody. You're going through a heartbreak. I don't care if this is because you've split with somebody short term, split with somebody long term, split with somebody for good, you know, forever. It's a divorce. Love yourself no matter what. Try your best to, you know, take the relationship for what it was and make sure that you love yourself, forgive yourself, accept yourself, because you're the one who has to move forward. And whether or not you see red flags, don't see red flags, whether or not you protect yourself, don't protect yourself, this Queen of Swords energy, that's you. So if you're ready to jump ship or not, you're the one jumping with yourself, okay? So regardless, you're still with yourself no matter what, okay? So you got to love yourself, right? Okay. This one, stop taking life so seriously. Achievements and possessions will pale into insignificance when your soul journeys back home to the light from which everything stems, okay? So again, here, I think this is something where it's telling you to stay optimistic, okay? So again, I think it's just saying don't take everything so seriously that you can't enjoy it, that you can't, again, with the red flag situation too, don't protect yourself so much or build your walls so high that you can't even enjoy the relationship you're in, because all you're doing is looking for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the other shoe to drop, looking for the red flag. If you do that, you're never going to be able to enjoy the moment, okay? So don't do that. And this one, have you lost sight of what is really important? Remember a time when your life was simpler and the world seemed like a giant playground just waiting to be explored. Perhaps it is time to rediscover the world together, okay? So again, I think this is where we're saying here, it's good to be protective of yourself. It's good to watch for red flags, but again, you need to also enjoy yourself, have fun. If your walls are too high, if all you're doing is sitting 24/7, waiting for the other shoe to drop and waiting for their red flags, how much fun can you have? When you're a kid on a playground, you don't sit around going, oh, I can't climb that. What if I fall and hurt myself? That won't be any fun. No, I'm just gonna sit here and watch everybody else have fun. That's no way to live, right? That's not what kids do on a giant playground. They enjoy themselves. If you get hurt, you get hurt. But what's the old saying? Is it Tennyson? It's better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all. Okay, so and if I got that wrong, comment and let me know, because I probably did get that wrong, but whatever. Anyway, you get the gist. So anyways, I hope this resonated with you. If it did, please do like, subscribe, share, all that other great stuff. Otherwise, I hope to see you back this weekend for your weekend into next week energy readings. Bye.